Watch this.
When one thinks of Boise, it's likely this view that comes to mind. The iconic scene seen from one of its benchmarks.
It's a landmark.
But the Boise Depot took decades to take its place as the staple of the city's skyline.
The citizens of Boise had been pushing and asking for passenger rail for decades at this point, and to be on the main line.
By the mid-1920s, that rail service would become a reality and return Boise's train stop to the bench in a Spanish Mission-style revival.
The key things about it are its stucco walls, the campanile, or what we call typically the bell tower, the asymmetrical two wings of the building.
The depot officially opened on April 16, 1925.
Oh my gosh, the fanfare was incredible.
A huge coming out party for the up-and-coming city of just 20,000.
And yet we had over 3,000 people jamming the station there, making sure that they could see the train that was coming in.
Even then, the depot was more than just a train station.
And also just really represented the hope and the promise of Boise's economic growth, its social growth, and kind of put the city on the map, honestly. They get off the train, they see these gorgeous mountains, you can see buildings rising.
However, none have stood as the symbol of the city of trees for a century.
But I think the reason that it's made it 100 years is because people recognize just how beautiful and special it is.
And welcome to the Boise Depot. This is the view seen by the passengers who rode in on that first train to Boise 100 years ago today, 1925. And as you look downtown, you can see a lot of it has changed, obviously. The only thing that was there 100 years ago, the Boise Capitol building and the Edelman building. Everything else, brand new as you look down Capitol Boulevard. But what hasn't changed, or at least not much, it's still pretty much the same shot that it's been all these years. That would be the 96-foot tall bell tower, and the whole building is Spanish Mission-style revival on the Boise bench. And here we are a century later. People don't always come here to catch a train anymore, obviously. They haven't since 1997, but it is still one of the iconic structures here in downtown Boise that the city uses as an event center. And of course, it is just one of the landmarks, if not the landmark, of the city of trees and Idaho's state capital. Today, though, we're inviting you, and the city is inviting you, to come down to the Boise Depot to celebrate 100 years of the Boise Depot, April 16th, 1925. And you can come down here because we got the Boise Jazz Band is going to be playing for us at 5 o'clock. They're going to start, which is, well, right about now. They're going to be playing throughout the evening tonight. Plus, we got food and drinks on site, so don't worry about bringing any of that with you. There's a cake and birthday. We also have a Roaring 20s theme that's going on with a photo booth, so take advantage of that. And also, starting at 8:30 tonight, there'll be an art projection on the building. So stay tuned for that. That starts at 8:30. So as you can kind of take a look at this, it is, as we mentioned, one of the most iconic images in all of Boise. How iconic? Well, Hunter Funk has a little idea about that because this has been all over the place. And you a little bit more about this.
Yeah, exactly. I decided to take it to the locals, right? People who live in Boise who really know what those iconic things are. Well, we talked to them about it, and also where you can find that icon. Take a look.
Most iconic buildings in Boise.
Ask around.
I would say the Idaho downtown is really fun. The Capitol is pretty cool.
Our Capitol looks like a lot of the other state capitals, but it's a very cool Capitol, especially the interior.
Boise has standout iconic buildings, and one that's also on that list.
Obviously, the Depot.
Obviously, the Boise Depot.
Gives our city a lot of character.
And has made the city really recognizable.
But why is this landmark one that's woven into the city's identity?
I mean, the architecture of it's very stunning. The big steeple with the clock on it. It sits up on a hill, so when you're up there, you have this beautiful view of downtown plus the foothills.
It's really cool that it also is kind of mirrored from the Capitol building, so it's like two iconic buildings in the capital city.
The random Spanish styling it's just so Boise, and then there's these nice little obelisks at the top which have a little bit of like an Egyptian reference. So Boise kind of having this weird mishmash of just drawing whatever we liked from across the country or across the globe and then just throwing it all into the melting pot of the city is just iconic for us.
And you can see that icon representing Boise everywhere, from planes, trains, and automobiles. So let's start with the planes. The Boise Airport just opened the Boise Depot concession stand just in time for the Centennial celebration.
We want to add more local spots because we want to show off Boise. in a sense. You know, we got so many great things here in Boise, so it's perfect timing that this store opened right before the 100th year.
From planes to trains, you can find a replica of the depot at the old Boise Model Railroad Club. Now to automobiles, if you want a sticker for your car, Boise OG owner and designer Kelly Knopp has just the thing after he created this sticker in partnership with Lisa Frank, the woman known for creating legendary school supplies.
Well, when I designed the sticker, we were looking for all sorts of stuff that represents Boise. And growing up here, the train depot was always sort of that marker of where you were in town, because this was before cell phones or MapQuest.
You can find his stickers online, and if you also do a quick Google search, the icon can be found all over, especially in Etsy shops. You can also find it right on the Boise Monopoly board. Walk downtown, you'll find it in local businesses, and even look at these submissions by people who tried to create a new city flag design. It's easy to see, 100 years later, the Boise Depot isn't just standing there, but rather standing as a timeless symbol of the city.
I hope that everyone that experiences a celebration just realizes that it's important to keep these older establishments around and give us that charm and that history.
And these stickers you can see here, they're actually selling out online. So these got two different options.
Okay.
This one though, selling out. And I'm gonna say it's because of the Centennial. Kind of a fun option. Also, the other thing I didn't mention is that the Boise Depot chairs are also in the airport. So
yes.
if you want to see those,
if you've been to the airport, you've seen them there.
Yeah.
You know, Boise, considering maybe making a new flag, might want to consider putting the depot on that as that iconic image. That might work there.
Yeah.
All right, so we still got lots going on here tonight. The festivities go until 10 o'clock tonight, so you have plenty of time. Just, you probably should know, no parking up here at the Boise Depot because they got to make room for all the things that are going on. But you can park at Ann Morrison. There's a shuttle that'll take you from the park up to the depot. You're encouraged to walk. You're encouraged to bike, but get up here anytime you can because, well, at 6:30, they're going to be cutting up some cake to celebrate the birthday. So come on down and join us. We'll be here. We'll be right back with more right after this. And welcome back live to the Boise Depot, where we're helping celebrate 100 years of the Boise Depot. April 16th, 1925, the first train came through, and everybody just had a great big party here up on the hill overlooking downtown Boise. The last train came through in 1997, the passenger train that is, and since then, well, the Boise Depot's had to kind of come up with a new life, a second life. And to tell us a little bit more about that, we have Aspen Shumpert here, because this has kind of been a place where people would pass through, but now it's kind of a place where a lot of beginnings happen, right?
Yep, that's right. There's no longer passenger trains making its way here, but it is a destination where people are spending some of their most special days of their lives, and family histories are intertwining with our city's past.
It's not just the architecture of the building, which is so unique to Boise, but the view to me just feels like a celebration of Idaho and Boise in general.
Photographer Maggie Mattinson has been capturing weddings at the depot for over a decade.
You don't get more Boise than the train depot.
She says the venue offers unique advantages for couples.
No two weddings are the same here. You can kind of make the inside anything you want it to be because it is such a blank canvas inside.
Mattinson says shooting the venue comes with its challenges.
It can read a little bit orange because of the tile. However, I try to embrace it and just go with it. Sometimes it comes across as more retro and vintage, and now I try not to fight it and just embrace it and go with it.
But the depot holds personal significance beyond her professional work.
My family is actually a third generation Union Pacific. My grandpa was a signal worker, so he worked with the train signals and lights. And his grandpa and his father also worked for Union Pacific. When I'm shooting, I'm thinking of my own history too, and those meaningful moments with my family members, as well as the couple experiencing those milestone moments with their families.
For Sarah and Corbin Olson, who celebrated their wedding here 9 years ago, the depot holds a lifelong connection.
When I was a kid, I lived on Ruby, which is right behind the train depot. So I came here as a kid. My parents would take me here all the time. We'd come home from doing whatever, and the road would be blocked. Our driveway access would be blocked, you know, so we have to pull around to the back, which isn't, you know, bothersome when we did it, you know.
Yeah.
Just reminiscing about, oh, cool, someone's getting married there. How awesome for them.
Making it an easy decision when they were deciding where to get married.
Corbin just had such a connection. He used to play here as a little kid and run around the koi pond, so we came here and I saw it and I knew it was the perfect place for us.
On the Olsons' wedding day, the historic venue became their canvas, celebrating beneath open skies and within storied walls.
We got married right in the front. We had a big flower arch and rented a bunch of chairs, and we held hands the whole time.
Shaking, nervous.
We're doing a bend and dip kiss, and then you have the whole architecture. It's just gorgeous. It did end up raining on our wedding day, so we had the ceremony outside, and then by the end of the reception it was raining, so we were really glad we had an indoor spot.
We got awesome photos of us, just the two of us in the entire train depot dancing, and you know, our wedding attire, and that's one of my favorite photos. One, just because it's just the two of us kind of, you know, showing off the wedding, but also showing off the venue itself.
After their wedding, fate brought them even closer to their special place.
We were looking for our first apartment, and we ended up touring a little house right over here, and we knew it was the perfect spot because we had gotten married 1,000 feet away, and we got to see our wedding venue every day coming home.
Now, since moving out, they continue the tradition with annual visits.
We did our first look over by the koi pond where we read personal vows to each other. Just the classic. Every May we come here and we have a little picnic in the garden, and we bring our daughter now.
Moments and connections like the Olsons have created are what inspire Mattinson to keep capturing weddings at the historic depot.
It's so special to me to be able to capture not just the couple's relationship together, but their relationships with everybody else.
Now, Sarah and Corbin tell me that it felt like an honor to be added to that long list of couples who have got married here, and they hope this is a tradition that will continue for other couples for decades to come.
For decades to come, of course. And of course, there's a lot of other stories other than just weddings and stuff here. The people who remember riding the train during those years, and the city of Boise is collecting some of those stories still. You can tell your Boise Depot story at cityofboise.org. So if you're looking to share your story at the Boise Depot, please go to the website and do that. One of the most iconic images we talk about, of course, is the bell tower. And you can see right now there is a line to get inside the bell tower because they're giving tours tonight. And the question we get a lot here at KTVB, and especially on the 208, does the bell tower still chime? Well, Joe Paris has the answer to those questions and takes you inside.
All right, we're ready to head up the elevator up to the bell tower. 100 years of the Boise Train Depot. One of the most iconic sounds in the city of Boise, the bell. You used to actually take the stairs all the way up, so it's a little bit different now here in 2025. This is Eric's. He works here as one of the experts in the Boise Train Depot. And what do you think people would be most interested to know about, I guess, this journey up to the bell tower and what it's been through?
There's a lot of information. For one, as you can see right behind you, all the original brick. It's 96 feet tall, And it's a triple brick construction, so there's no steel reinforcements in this wall. Originally, there was a spiral steel staircase in the corner that took you up multiple floors, and at the top of the tower there are 4 bells. And at one time, all 4 bells chimed at the top of the hour, and you got the full Westminster chime.
Wow, okay, and these days only one's operational?
That's right. Today, only the largest bell rings at 8, noon, and 5.
Wow, and the stairs were really thin in the old days.
Very narrow, one-way traffic.
One-way traffic.
Yes.
So it was like real close quarters. I mean, that's a tough.
It was. It was not open to the public back then.
Okay. Now I realize the newer stairs, about 120 of them?
Yeah, about 120, yep. This was all put in with MK. That came in 1990 restoration.
Wow, okay, so as you take a step off the elevator here, I mean, this is probably the best view in the entire city.
That's right. This is the money shot, you could say, straight to the Capitol. That's why the depot is here. It's not anywhere else on the Boise Bench. It was placed here because it lined up with the Capitol Dome.
And are these the original bells that have been here?
These are the original bells. They came in 3 years later in 1927. The clock's been here from 1925. Bells came in as a donation later on and have been ringing since 27.
And 100 years later, the bell is still ringing.
So yeah, Brian, we were in there. Obviously, it's a little loud when you're up there.
What?
But, yeah, what? I can't hear you, Brian. We tried to time it. That's actually, it's not like a button or a machine. It's actually just right on the clock when they have it active, pulls it going. But it's a full century experience. You hear the bell, you feel the old brick, the amazing view that you look down Capitol. It's a great opportunity that these people are about to have behind us, getting up to go to the bell tower.
It's nice, and it used to be more regular. It used to be
Yes.
chimed 3 times a day. Now, not so much.
Yeah, you know, infrastructure over 100 years.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
Exactly. All right. Thank you very much, Joe. Again, you can come down, take a tour of that tower. Going to have to get in line. But we're here till 10, so come down and join us. We got lots more to talk about and lots more to see down here at the Boise Depot as we celebrate 100 years of the Boise Depot. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Boise Depot, celebrating 100 years of this big structure. And I'm standing next to another big thing. Big Mike, they call him. This big steam locomotive that's been here, well, for many, many years. Built in 1920, though. Called Big Mike because it's a Mikado, I believe. I think that's the name of the engine or the company that made it. And it has been here, I think, since, well, at least Boise has had it since the 50s, and it has not been up here that long. But it is still another thing that you can see when you come up here to the Boise Depot and see all that there is to see. I'm going to bring in now the mayor of Boise, Lauren McLean. Come on in, Mayor. Thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
It's great to be here. I'm doing great. This sunny day has us squinting, but so happy for great weather and to see so many Boiseans up here already.
Okay, so we talked about how the city took possession of this back in 1996, and when rail service stopped in 97, the whole point was to keep it as an event center and just kind of keep it as a very big part of this city.
Yes, in fact, you know, the community was really happy to have it, and since then we've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of folks get married here, retirement parties here, all different community events like we've had this weekend. But of course, we want to use it for more.
Yeah, and what kind of things are in the future when you say using it for more?
You know, we've looked at what we need to do to restore it and to get it ready for rail to return here, as hundreds of people have said they really want to see happen, and we're working really hard to make that happen.
What would it mean to the city if passenger rail service would return to Boise?
You know, yesterday I was here as part of the celebration, and gosh, at lunch there were about 100 people here, and I joined Elaine Clegg and we had a conversation about the return to rail, and we heard from so many folks that were sharing their stories. What it means is that we could once again walk through these halls, step out onto a platform, get on a train, stop in Caldwell, head to Salt Lake. The communities all along the route have raised their hand and said, yes, we want this, and we're working with them to apply for funds to see if it's possible. Nice. And we're really optimistic.
Okay, so your involvement tonight, you're going to reading a proclamation, I understand?
The congressional delegation, so our senators and representatives, read a memorial for the Depot's 100th birthday into the congressional record. So I've got some remarks to make. I really am appreciative of them for doing that, and I'll have that tonight with me to share with the public.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to that memorial being read inside and lots of other events going on inside. So thank you. It's supposed to be a 1920s theme around here, but I don't see the attire.
To dress like work. And then later I will be dressed like 1920s.
Nice.
So now I've committed. I've been on the fence, but yes, I have an outfit I've had for years. It's waiting inside for me. So
well, if that's not enough to bring...
Be warned.
If that's not enough to bring you up here to see that, well, I don't know what is. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to that. Nice to see you again. All right. This is amazing. So come on up. Again, we still have plenty of time. They'll be up here till 10 o'clock tonight. Lots to do, but we're not finished yet here, and we will be right back right after this. And welcome back to our live coverage of the 100th anniversary of the Boise Depot. We're on the other side of the depot, the side not seen all the time by people in Boise. This is where the train would actually come through. And as we heard Mayor McLean talk about, they're looking at bringing the train back, passenger rail service back. And Abby Davis kind of talked to somebody who's kind of spearheading this whole campaign to try to bring this back, right?
Yeah, and that's because there's a renewed effort around the country to expand Amtrak in the West. And of course, that is the National Passenger Rail Company. And now there's an Idahoan on its board of directors. Valley Regional Transit CEO Elaine Clegg's nomination became official earlier this year. She's the first representative in Idaho ever, and the first in the Northwest in 3 decades. U.S. Republican Senators Mike Crapo and Jim Risch helped push her nomination by former President Joe Biden through, despite some hesitancy from other lawmakers in their party. While Clegg says she's tasked with representing the entire Amtrak system, she's pushing hard for passenger rail to return to southern Idaho. Again, service stopped in 1997 because of federal cuts. Not only would Clegg like to see Amtrak here, she would also like Valley Regional Transit to run regional rail throughout the valley, possibly hitting depots in Nampa, Caldwell, Meridian, and Boise. She says rail is a great option for everyone, but especially seniors and community members who are lower income and may not be able to travel otherwise.
If we can get rail, not just long distance, but also this regional rail, all of a sudden the whole world is different for them. The opportunities, if this country was built on opportunity, this will build opportunity. And so that's why I believe in it so deeply.
The 2021 bipartisan infrastructure law might help make all this a reality. It opened up funding for the federal government to explore adding 15 routes, 2 of which would run through Idaho. Groups can also submit an application to study and develop a service model for their region. After a failed first application, Clegg says the city of Boise is leading another effort. She said although Idaho already has the infrastructure for rail, a lot of it still needs updating, and that could happen over time. The main hurdle right now, of course, is getting the green light for potential new routes, and the proposal would still need to go through Congress. Brian Clegg says she is really hopeful that passenger rail will return, and when I talked to her recently, she says she hopes someday soon she won't be here for an interview. She'll be here to take the train just like she did when she was a kid.
Just like a lot of people did when they were a kid. Now, they've tried this before. What makes you think what does she think, or why does she think this has a chance this time, a better chance?
Yeah, well, there's a rejuvenated effort, of course, with her being on the board, and it's a full board for the first time in a long time, and now there is more representation from the West Coast. So there is a lot of momentum going into this.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Abby. Yeah, here's to another 100 years possibly. But yeah, this is the backside where those trains would come through, and they did for nearly 50 years. It went away in 1997, but you can come up and celebrate and enjoy and look back. There's lots of stuff to see inside, and there's a cake cutting at 6:30, so you might want to come down for that. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.